like that sleight of hand. That's crazy, isn't it? We're trying to find the best player, building the perfect player. Over the next 8 weeks, we've taken thoughts from the best GMs and best coaches around the NBA to construct the perfect basketball player, starting with the handles. And you see these three gentlemen right here. So we see these three right here on the screen. But Seiko, I'm going to start with you. Who is your favorite player as far as handles goes?
I mean, this is a great category. I want to give a shout-out to Jamal Crawford getting in on the Veterans Committee vote.
Man.
Shout out to the old fella.
Automatic vet vote.
Yes, and I would tell you that if you asked who's the most feared, by his peers around the league, it's Kyrie Irving. Something about Kyrie's artistry with the ball and his balance and the way he's got that thing on a string underneath him. He doesn't do as much of the embarrassing people and knocking them down like James Harden does maybe, which is more highlight ready.
Yeah.
But just the consistent attack in the off-balance nature of how you try and deal with Kyrie off the dribble would lend itself to him being the first guy on this list.
And I would say Kyrie combines amazing finishes with the handle, which I think enhances the way it all looks. Some guys pat it 50 times and then throw it in the stands. So your handle's probably not that tight. But James Harden also, I mean, he uses, I think, more dribbles in one spot, but it's almost like he's hypnotizing you with the basketball. He's not moving a lot, but he's patting it in between the legs, behind the back, crossovers, getting to the basket, stopping, hitting big threes like the one we're just looking at. So I could see how one guy in Beantown can get it, the other guy in H-Town can get it. But Jamal Crawford, man, I mean, to be on this list at 37, 38 years old, still
cooking.
Player
still
handles.
He might be the godfather of this thing, too, if you go back and look at the work he's done over the years.
That is true. I mean, you look at some of the greatest handles of all time. You have to put him in there. Pistol Pete, Isaiah Thomas, White Chocolate, Allen Iverson, all in the conversation of the greatest handles of all time. But we'll keep it current. So I have to ask you, there seems to be, at least in my humble opinion, one player that is missing from this list. Two-time MVP, one-time unanimous MVP, Steph Curry, who has people come out to watch him put on a dribbling display in pregame warm-ups. Why is Chef Curry not on this list?
In my opinion, as you just said, I think that the way the Warriors play basketball, he's without the basketball a lot. And they don't run a lot of traditional, just mid-pick and roll, drag screens and transition as much as some of these other guys run. And so I just think people have lost their connection to how much he has the basketball on the string. Now, just a couple years ago, it was Kyrie and Steph in the conversation. And then James Harden has put together MVP almost back-to-back type seasons. So people have kind of leaning over towards James Harden on the left-hand side. But don't forget about the chef, man. Steph Curry can pat it.
Yeah, and I think you forget about his handle because you're so busy watching that follow-through.
Yes.
Always the thing with Steph is the shooting, and he and Clay have taken that to another level. You forget how he gets open for some of those. It's not always off a screen. It's not always ball movement. Sometimes it's taking somebody and putting them in his own blender and getting that shot.
You know, someone who hasn't forgot about those Steph Curry handles? Chris Paul. Too soon or not? Chris Paul's teammate is James Harden. We're going to do a demonstration right out here on this floor coming back. He gets away with everything. The master of the step back, the master of the Euro step. Fear the beard. D. Fisher's going to show us how it's done on the court. Game time coming up.
Harden backs up, tries it again. Yes! He does it again! Harden met by Morris. Harden on the drive. Yes! And the foul. Here comes a step back three. Again down the hatch it goes for James Harden. Step back. Oh! A cold-blooded three for James Harden. Is that the most unstoppable shot in basketball? It's unbelievable. Harden! How do you like me now? James flexing those muscles. Oh! James Harden with an MVP performance.
You see that group of players right there, very impressive. James Harden sitting at the top of the list. Oh, asterisk, Wilt Chamberlain, he's really at the top, the Big Dipper. But nevertheless, James Harden is impressive. 17 straight games of scoring 30 or more. Crazy. So, fellas, number one, how impressive is this? And Fish, I'm actually going to start with you because the person who's right behind James Harden, who we just passed, you had the pleasure of sharing the backcourt with Kobe Bryant, and you witnessed him put together some of these magnificent performances. Comparing the two players, which one, in your opinion, was more dominant during their streak?
Oh, that's a great question. James, it feels more dominant, I think, in terms of what James is doing because of the 57, the 40-plus that was mixed in there. I felt like Kobe's was more consistent. Like, he literally could have just scored 32, 35 every night, and maybe he had a breakout here or there. I think also James has been needed to score this many just for the Rockets to have a chance to win. But there's no way I could have imagined another player doing that at that time. To think that now Harden has surpassed Kobe on that list is an amazing accomplishment.
Looking at Harden's ceiling, go ahead, chime in just on the level of play that he's been able to maintain and continue to play at this level while missing CP3, Capella out, and all these other players. His usage is through the chart.
Yeah, it's bonkers. I mean, and it's part of the evolution of what James Harden has been in this system, in Mike D'Antoni's system. When you have the opportunity to control the action the way that he does, and you're that gifted a passer and scorer and creator, to me, that's what elevates his performance to another level. I know Kobe, I don't know that there's ever been a guy who was as demonic a scorer as Kobe, like who could just rip a team's heart out and, strike the fear in everybody the way he did. But he didn't always have the assist numbers like James Harden does. Harden is doing the scoring, and he's creating for everybody else in ways that I don't know. And that's not a knock on Kobe. I just don't know that it was the same type of creation in terms of shots for everybody else. But what Harden's done to catch T-Mac and Kobe and then pass him, unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable. But one way he does it is he's creative offensively. He's able to get to the line. And as you see by the numbers, over the past 3 seasons, he is by far the leader in getting to the free throw line with his free throw attempts. It is ridiculous. Russell Westbrook, his former teammate, is right there, but Harden is clearly head and shoulders above everybody else. So what we're going to do right now, we're out here on the court for a reason. The coach, Derek Fisher, is going to demonstrate the techniques that the bearded one uses to get to the court because, hey, we got to get this knowledge, and you got it all.
That's a tough task.
I don't always get caught up in this kind of stuff.
He's a lefty, and we have a volunteer right now. Sekou Smith is going to demonstrate right here, and I'm just going to sit back and watch.
All right, well, let's come out this way as we take a look at James Harden here going right and literally wrapping his left arm around Paul Millsap's inside hand there. You see Millsap right arm away from his body. James Harden locks his left arm around his, right? And so when you think about this, we used to hand check before, right? We played defense. So to replace the hand checking, a lot of players have gone to this type of position so that hand is not out. So now James is feeling what used to be an arm bar on his body. They have to come off his body now for freedom of movement with the rules. So as he's driving right, he sees that arm away from your body, and he now comes up as though he's getting ready to go into his shooting motion on his way downhill, and the referees are trained to watch the defender. That's who is going to cause more problems for the referee is the defender, not the offensive player. So they look up, they see the defender's arms wrapped around the offensive player. That's a foul on the defender, and he's become one of the most crafty offensive players at creating fouls that I've ever seen. So he used multiple ways of doing it. That's one way that he does it. There's another way when he's penetrating downhill, whether it's right or left. So let's say he's going to his left this time. He's driving to the basket, and he shows this ball to Sekou. Sekou feels like, hey, I got quick hands. I can get this steal. Soon as he extends, he's coming across. Boom, arms come up, right into another foul situation.
He does it all the time. That's the thing about it. Fish, I'm stunned that these guys have not caught on. These defenders have not caught on. And I love when, when the Lakers earlier this year, they were like, hands behind the back. Like, the only way to do this is hands behind the back because if you stick it out there for James Harden, even if there's no real contact, he can exaggerate it and sell fouls to the official. I know some people don't like that. Smart basketball, though, when you consider if Kobe or Michael got a chance to play in an era where freedom of movement was an emphasis.
Oh, my goodness.
So
It could
listen,
have been crazy.
It would have been crazy. So we've seen the demonstration, hand check, no hand check, arm bar extended. But what about the world famous step back that he's known for? We got to demonstrate that.
Well, for Harden, it's gone from step back to side step, right? So as a left-handed player, now that I've created foul situations, your hands have to stay off of my body. I step sideways to get a little bit of separation from you. Now when you contest, I stick the leg out a little bit. Kind of looks like my natural shooting motion.
Kind of.
George Hill didn't even leave the floor that time. But because James Harden wasn't able to come straight back down, foul called on George Hill. This time, JaMychal Green trying to slide with him. And knocking him around, and that's a foul on Sekou.
Right.
I'm going to get 3 free throws.
That step back is amazing. He'll definitely go down the line.
Did he create this? I'm trying to remember, is there another player who used the step back? Like, I mean, now you see Luka Doncic, you see other players doing it, their own version of it, but who employed this tool like this prior to James Harden? I don't remember anybody really going to it as often as he does.
I don't know if he created it, but he definitely has pioneered what looks to be more of a side step. For a long time, we were taught to step back, drive the defender that way, step back this way.
Which is in turn a more difficult shot to take if you're
Much
stepping
more
back.
difficult.
Yeah.
The side step, which is Harden is doing, really allows you to still stay more square to the basket, and then I think be able to add some multiple dribble moves behind that. So real smart evolution by Harden.
The evolution also, he's allowed to maybe take a step or two extra.
Stop it. We saw Steph try it. Didn't
We
work.
saw Steph try. Hey, we got more coming on Game Time. Don't go anywhere. Defense, Sekou Smith.
Oh, my God.
Shoot the shot. Shoot the shot. Buckets. Oh.
It's your boy 3D. We're here for another Players Only. Here with Coach Saunders. And Coach, appreciate you spending a little time with me. First of all, what comes to mind to me is I've been around you for a while. You love this game of basketball. When you got the phone call, you were taking over as coach. What went through your mind?
I mean, it was definitely a shock in terms of just being unexpected. You know, and then a lot of things go through your mind. Being quite frank, first thing was that I needed to speak to my mother and my wife, and some other people, just to, you know, I want to make educated decisions on things. But then when things settled down and everything kind of came together, then you kind of realize, you know, this is a great opportunity.
I believe you have this personality with the way the new NBA is to speak to the young stars today. How was that first conversation with Wiggs and Cat saying, hey guys, I'm the new voice, I need you guys to play like all-stars?
I mean, just kind of like that, and it's, you know, I'd like to think it's not going to come from me. It's going to come from within themselves, and I'm big. You know, I learned from my father. I learned from a number of great people in terms of that players are the ones that you put them in positions where they can both have freedom, succeed, but also have structure with things, and then it's up to them ultimately.
Let's get to it. 452 twist.
Yep,
There's so many options to that play.
Yeah.
What made you go to it, and what gave you the confidence to call it?
Well, it was really one of those things that I was sitting in my room, hadn't had a lot of sleep at that point. I was sitting in my room in Oklahoma City, and I knew in walkthrough I wanted to you know, put our first play in, and I was trying to think what would be, you know, the best thing to go to, and 452 twist kept coming to my mind, and only for the simple fact of you only get one first play coaching in the NBA, and for me to give a silent ode, I didn't tell anybody or anything, but a silent ode to my father, my late father, meant a lot to me.
Yeah. And we were just sharing off camera that you were playing against New Orleans.
Yeah.
And take me that little secret.
Yeah, actually, Alvin Gentry ran 452 twist for Anthony Davis for the first play, and they ended up scoring, and they scored on it again. And he looked down and gave me a thumbs up and a big smile, and you know, patted his heart, and so that was a nice moment from him.
Being around guys like C. Webb and Kevin Garnett, how does that help you for the job?
Just that right there, just being around those types of people and those types of players, and how they prepare in their professionalism. That is what has prepared me for this. So I give a ton of credit to those guys. And you, I remember I was a little guy when you were in Minnesota for a little bit, hitting threes.
Yes.
So yeah,
appreciate you, man.
definitely.
All right, good luck, rest
Thank
of
you.
the way.
Thank you.
I was going to make an announcement that Ryan Saunders looks just like Skeets from the starters over there, but I'm not gonna. I'm not going. Oh, we got Where's Will? Let's stop it. All right, bam! What we got today for the Will? I can't read this. Oh, locker room talk. Well, hey guys, when I was in college, you know how when you go to the Final Four and things like that, or big games, they bring a local hero to talk to you. And for us, it was Isaiah Thomas. I mean, imagine this in college. I'm 18 years old. I literally broke like a pane glass. I was just so hyped that he came in and he would talk to us and share it. And I want to go out to our man, our point guard, Zeke. What up, Brendan Hayward? We can get to you in a second, my brother. But I want to go out to Zeke. Now, Zeke, you're one of the smallest men ever to play in the NBA and have such a dominating career. They call you a little point guard. What the hell were you doing in the New Orleans Saints locker room inspiring all those big guys? First of all, tell me what you told them, and then tell me how you got to that after. But what did you say to the guys in the locker room? Come on, man.
Well, I just talked about championship play.
No. Tell us like you told them, Zeke. Tell us like you told them in the locker room, Zeke.
I told them that the three most important things that champions need to play with is what I call ice, and that is intensity, concentration, and energy. And how long can you sustain concentration? And most people can't concentrate for 2.5 hours in a game. And if you can sustain concentration and put energy and intensity into that concentration along with your skill and game plan, then you got a chance to win. And you saw they fell behind, but they were able to concentrate. And, you know, we just talked about, you know, the relationship that Mike Ornstein and I have and Coach Sean Payton and I have, and how we talked about how you become leaders. And the greatest leaders of all time, whether it be Jesus Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, they were all servants. They were servants to men. And how do you be a servant to your teammate? You get the best out of your teammate by helping him achieve. You get the best out of your teammate by helping him succeed. And we watched Mike Ornstein lay in a coma for 20 days, and he got up, and now he's back. So they gave us the game ball. Coach Payton gave Mike Ornstein a game ball, gave myself one game ball, and he gave Mrs. Benson, the owner, the other game ball. So we were happy to be a part of the Saints win the other day.
Zeke, I mean, I'm going to call Chico in here during the commercial and dunk on him because you got me hyped right now. And we got a little bit of tape from you in that locker room, man. And, you know, y'all think Zeke is calm and cool, and which he is, but this is how he gets locker rooms hyped. That's right. This is a pro locker room. Zeke, congratulations. It's so great because you've inspired so many of us. It's great to see that transfer across all type of genres, all type of sports. And I just thought that was really cool that one of the best, if not the best, small point guard in the game was in there inspiring thousands of pounds of big football players.
Tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, right. Tens of thousands of pounds. And, Brendan, we want to welcome you to the desk tonight. Now, I know you played 14 years in this league, but you know how they do it, brother. You did your thing in Dallas. You did your thing in D.C. for the Wizard. But I got a question. What's up with your Cavs this year? What's the problem with y'all?
Oh, why did my Cavs?
Because you played there 1 year.
I played there 1 year. I didn't even get to play. See,
14 years.
I watched LeBron play for 1 year.
Tell us how you really feel. No, guys, we're looking forward to hearing the call from you. I love hearing from you, Brandon B. I love hearing from you. College game, can't wait for that to come up and enjoy you being here with us tonight. But we'll be a little bit back. We'll be back with y'all in a little bit. Chico, get in here so I can dunk on you right there. Got me hyped. Ice, baby. People can't concentrate longer than 2.5 hours in the game, but that man can. He knows a little something about ice. Joel Embiid, the big man. In the words of Kevin McHale, he said, look, I'd ask the team to come over here and I'd say, look, fellas, he's the man. And there it is. Breaking news, breaking news. That's right. Sean Saunders is the brother of our man Skeets. He'll be on the starters next week. We'll be back, baby.